Hello there, and welcome to Roundtable. I'm your host, Adam Cook. This week, we're going round the Richmond Council table as we review two presentations from the latest meeting of Richmond's Committee of the Whole. Later on in the program, you'll hear from the president of the Arichat Community Development Association, Rochelle Sampson, about the progress of a new park project that the association is setting up near Ecole Beau-Port. But we begin with a look ahead to the summer tourism season for 2022. Of course, it's been a difficult 2 years for the tourism sector here in Richmond County and across Cape Breton Island due to the COVID-19 pandemic and its accompanying restrictions. But this time around, things are looking brighter. With this in mind, let's check out a presentation that was made to Richmond's recent Committee of the Whole meeting by the Destination Cape Breton Association. The Destination Cape Breton delegation consisted of CEO Terry Smith and the Richmond County representative on the Destination Cape Breton Board of Directors, Cindy Walker, who is the owner and operator of Pepperell Place Inn in St. Peters. Here's the presentation that Smith and Walker gave to Richmond's Committee of the Whole last week.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our strategy for the coming year, but I just wanted to start off with a few results. So most of what we do from a marketing standpoint is designed to drive traffic to our website. And this chart just shows you the website traffic over the past 5 years. So you can see it's been going up a little bit every year, but this past year we took a significant jump and had over 1 million sessions on our website for the first time. So it was up 29% over 2020. And we also measure leads, which is clicks from our website out to our operators, our tourism businesses. They were also up 45% last year too, over 117,000. So that tells us that people are actively making their plans to come here. And the good news is for this year, the pent-up demand, we're certainly seeing it on our website because last year was a record, but we're up 73% over last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's been fantastic. In terms of room nights sold, of course, that's been a little bit of a different picture. In the last 2 years, it's been pretty challenging. So that kind of shows you the 2017, 2018, 2019. Those were normal years, and we've kind of separated there into the green, which is it used to be licensed accommodations. It changed, they're now registered accommodations. And then the shared economy, which is mainly Airbnbs. So it looks like there's a bit of a decline there, but the Airbnbs have been growing and getting a greater share of the accommodation pie. But then the last 2 years, of course, it was very challenging. Last year was up 45% over 2020, but when you consider that 2020 was down significantly from 2019, it was still down 36% from 2019. So getting into our strategy overview, so we every year take a look at what some of the experts are saying travel-wise in terms of forecasts, and one of those organizations is the Conference Board of Canada. So they actually, this is their second forecast that they've put out for this season because the first one had, after that, we had the gas prices rising through the roof, so they adjusted it. But they basically said that they expect total visits to Nova Scotia to increase by 33% in 2022. Now, to put that in context, that would mean that we would be about 80% of 2019 numbers. So on the road to recovery, but not quite there yet. Skift, another tourism media company, said 2022 will be travel's year of recovery. Expedia did a travel trends report. They are showing that travelers There was a great pent-up demand to travel during the pandemic, but there was also pent-up savings. So they predicted that travelers are going to want to make this year's vacation the greatest of all trips. So they're looking at probably spending more and staying a little bit longer in each destination, treating themselves. But of course, inflation, those pent-up savings have all been impacted by inflation. And we also have a rental car shortage that is going to impact things as well. So our goals is to generate total registered room nights sold to 80% of 2019 levels for this year. We want to also, looking at our shoulder and winter seasons, have monthly occupancy rates that are getting us closer back to pre-pandemic levels. And we're also collaborating with partners to mitigate the labor shortage by all possible means. This is our marketing plan in a slide. I'm not going to go through it all, but it's a very tried and true process that we follow, where we follow targeting people with appropriate messages at every stage of their journey through the path to purchase. So if you're dreaming, if you're thinking, oh, I'd love to just get away, and you happen to be online, you might be on social media seeing, oh, my friend is doing this, and then checking some things out. In that case, we have certain tactics. If you're actively planning, if you say, I've got a couple weeks in September, where can I go? You're starting to be a little bit more serious, so we have other content that would be designed to engage people a little bit more, educate them a little bit more. And when you're in the act of booking, we're trying to provide helpful information. We're trying to educate people that you can't come here and go around the Cabot Trail and leave. You've got to come and spend at least 5 days, hopefully 7 days or more on the island, and there's a lot more to visit around the island. And then when people are here experiencing the destination map, we're developing a digital app this year and encouraging people to share content on social channels. But a lot of what we do these days is all digital based. It's probably 80 to 85% of our marketing budget these days is all digital.
Wow.
One of the things that we have this year that is a focus for us is our Year of Music. So this coming fall, we will be hosting a music tourism convention, and also Nova Scotia Music Week will be here in November. We just had, week before last, an activation at P.G. O'Brien's Pub in Toronto with Natalie Master, Danelle Leahy, and Cape Breton actor Billy McClellan was the MC for it. And we brought together a group of travel media, social media influencers, tour operators, and tried to just get the buzz, remind them what's so wonderful about Cape Breton Island, and everybody just had a great time. And we're already posting things about Cape Breton on their social channels, so it was great to see. We just found out, and we've got a call this week about Downtown's music series. So we've received some funding from ACOA for a particular project that will run throughout the summer. And then last year we were one of the partners provincially in the Patio Lanterns Festival that encouraged more live music to happen. We've been told, we don't have funds yet, but we've been told that it's going to happen again, but it's going to be September and October. So that's going to extend how much music is happening around the island. We're also on our website enhancing the live music section and developing a mobile app for live music as well. Right now, if you didn't know, we're in the midst of waterfall season in Cape Breton Island.
It's been raining.
Yeah, for sure. So this is modeled a little bit after Tofino, BC. They have something that they developed a number of years ago called storm watching season. Now, basically, they had a slow period in the year, and they said, well, what do we have? What are our assets? And it's like, well, we got a lot of storms, we get a lot of big surf, and so they created storm watching season. And there's not really any activities. You go and you put on your rubber boots and you go out and you do things like we would do all the time around here, I'm sure, but it's been incredibly successful. So one of the things that we found, there's this guy, Benoit Lalonde, who has written a book about, he's written one for Nova Scotia, but he wrote a book that was released last year, Waterfalls of Cape Breton, and he's actively going and trying to find new waterfalls all the time. And he says Cape Breton is the Shangri-La of waterfalls because we're blessed to have so many and such a diversity. One of the things, whenever we post, whether it's a video, a photo of waterfall content, we have a blog about waterfalls on our website, it's really, really popular. And the spring, when we need to try to generate a little bit more visitation to our island, we have spring runoff and we have those April showers, and that fills up all of our brooks and streams. So we've developed waterfall season. It's a test for this year, mid-May to the end of June, but we're featuring 12 waterfalls across the island, waterfalls that are either in the national park or provincial parks, or are accessible where landowners are giving permission. Grand River Falls and Hill Lake Brook Falls would be two within your municipality. And we have a contest that encourages people to get out. If they download our app, they can get a QR code. There's a QR code at every waterfall that they take a picture of. Go to 3 and you're entered into a contest. Number of operators are providing guided hikes and experiences as well. And this was updated since I sent this to Yvonne, but there's about 15,000 page views now, which is a 10-fold increase of waterfall content over last year, and over 600 app downloads. We're working with some partners on niche markets. One is luxury upscale travel, so we have a number of partners around the island that are interested in looking at this market. So it's early stages, but we're examining the potential for that. Sport fishing, the CEPI, the Collaborative Environmental Planning Initiative. I think last time I was here in person, they were presenting the same night. So we partnered with them on a sport fishing assessment specifically for the Boudreau Lake, and the result that came back was that there definitely is potential. So that's something we're going to continue working with them on developing. One of the things that is going to be looked at through that is training a number of new guides, and in particular a number of Mi'kmaq guides that are very interested in getting into that in terms of a career path. Mountain biking is something that we've been working on with the Cape Breton Partnership and some municipalities around the island, and we're also looking at small meetings. We think that as we come out of this pandemic, there seems to be, with people working remotely, a lot of organizations and corporations are looking for opportunities to bring their teams together. So small meetings is an opportunity that we can pursue. I'm almost done. Mobile data research. So one of the things that we don't have a ton of on Cape Breton Island is really good data to go by. And we looked at mobile data as something that we could look at that would give us a better idea of our visitors, their demographics, their travel patterns, etc. There's a new solution that came out recently that is more affordable, so we've invested in that for the coming year. One of the good things is that it's going to give us data not just on Cape Breton Island as a whole, but we'll be able to drill down into certain areas. There will be regions like the South Coast, like the Boudreau Lake, districts like Almadam or the Dundee area, for example, and then even points of interest like St. Peter's Marina or Point Michaud Beach, and we can provide data on who is visiting there. And so that data we will be sharing with the municipality and tourism operators, and hopefully it's going to allow us to work with potential investors and give them some really good data to make decisions on. And I think this is the final slide. Some destination development activities, and Cindy has copies of our long-term strategy that we released just last year. And we've got a hard copy for everyone. But within that, there are a number of things that we've prioritized. First of all, it's working with partners to address and mitigate the current labor shortage. In particular, we're working with the Cape Breton Partnership on that. And we're also supporting CBU and the World Tourism Institute. They've started a project to look at education and training for the tourism industry. So we're working with them on that. Developing a sustainability plan for the Cape Breton Island tourism industry, and I was just a few weeks ago at a sustainable tourism conference in Victoria, and got some ideas. I'm going to talk to these gentlemen because one of the things that we don't have here that I found out that other areas have is a project that could be supported with carbon offsets. So sounds like that could be a winner for that. And the other thing that we're doing is just looking at our organization and evolving our organization to enhance our capacity to deliver upon our mandate.
Following the Destination Cape Breton presentation, individual councillors and Warden Amanda Mumberket were impressed by specific parts of the new Cape Breton tourism strategy.
The storm watch, the waterfall storm watch situation. I'm not a tourist there, but I think we can all speak. Every time there's a windstorm or a rainstorm, whatever, you can witness the flow of traffic around this community, going to witness all this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that to me, that's a great idea, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw on Facebook the other day, somebody had posted a video of where the real magic is in Grand River Falls, Councillor Sampson, and it was a video of the fish moving under the water, and it was so busy and alive. It was really, really interesting. So a really great idea.
At the same time, Warden Mumberket and other Richmond officials were pleased to hear from the Destination Cape Breton contingent that a special shuttle service that will bring workers from Cape Breton University to tourism efforts in Richmond County is going to continue this coming summer.
You mentioned labor continues to be the driving factor behind business decisions about not opening all week long, or the amount of shifts they can provide. CBU had a shuttle. I know it's not the name of it, a shuttle program in the past. I don't think you mentioned. Did I miss that? If you mentioned it, are they going to be doing it again? Do you know?
They are doing it again.
It's going to happen again. So we'll have international students
Yeah.
being shuttled to locations in Richmond County and throughout rural Cape Breton to help offset that. That's really great to hear. I didn't know if COVID had kind of impacted their ability to do that or not again. That's great. When will that start, do you know?
It's already started.
Oh.
I passed one on my drive up here.
Fantastic. All right. Good to know. Okay.
And now, as promised, here's an update from the Arichat Community Development Association, specifically from Association President Rochelle Sampson, about the progress of an elaborate community park project that Sampson and her colleagues hope to set up near Ecole Beau-Port in Arichat.
So I'd like to start off by saying that we have successfully raised $250,000 towards this project in 2 short but long COVID years. So we hope that demonstrates our commitment to the development of this project, and it's been very successful thus far, so that's great. Second thing I would like to note is that I understand that the position of a councillor is not always an easy one. You guys make decisions on a regular basis for what you feel is the greater good, and that's for a group of people, and so usually with a group of people you can't please them all. So as a fresh council, I appreciate what you guys have been doing and how you've been doing it and how things are being handled, and so I'm looking forward to working with you guys a little bit more on this project.
Thank you.
So as councillors, I think you may be aware and you may not be aware of the Canada Community Building Fund. And you guys may be able to tell me more about this than I know thus far. So with that fund, I'm just going to read, it used to be the gas tax fund. So what I found on the internet, and I've done a bit of research myself on what this is, so it suggests that the Canada Community Building Fund is a permanent source of funding provided upfront twice a year to provinces and territories who in turn flow this funding to their municipalities to support local infrastructure priorities. Municipalities can pool, bank, and borrow against this funding, providing significant financial flexibility. So we, the ACDA, did some research on a couple of things for municipalities. One, we looked at other municipalities on how they distributed these funds. Two, if other municipalities owned and maintained parks or supported community groups that did. And three, things that just worked for municipalities when working with community groups and what didn't. So we came into a lump of information, and I'm not here to share that all or tell you guys how to do your job in any way or sort. It was just more for how to approach the council on what we could ask for and how we could ask for it, essentially. So in general, what we discovered was that there is support one way or another for parks similar to what we're trying to do, whether it be financial, whether it be staff hours or help with the maintenance or insurance or similar things of the sort. So one thing I want to touch on, and it's a bit of a bigger picture, is that a lot of the families that we talk to when building this park, because we think it's important to have community involvement, state to us that almost every weekend in the summertime they're taking them and their families to the town of Roxbury to attend their park and to use their their components of their park, specifically the splash pad. So in return, they are then spending their money at their restaurants, their gas stations, and their grocery stores, and not ours, not the ones in Richmond County, which we have plenty of, which are mostly small businesses and locally owned, and not big farmers like Sobeys and situations as such, right? So it's a real big miss for our community, and I think that's a big driving factor for us to ensure that we put that splash pad there in order to keep those community members in town and spending money locally. So a big hinge in our project right now is determining how to get water to the park. We understand that that's not a small portion of the project, and it takes some time and some thought to make sure that it's done safely, properly, and most importantly done once and done right. So we are looking to have the council guarantee, or I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but to have council allocate staff, the appropriate staff, to work with us to help determine the safest and most efficient way to get water to the park in order to have a splash pad. We think a splash pad is beneficial for multiple reasons, one being tourism, two being child development, and three being the increase of socialization post-COVID. We have an estimated budget of around $50,000 to $60,000 of trying to get water there. We've looked at a couple of different options, whether that be running it from the school, running it from the main, or running it from the closest line. We've had preliminary discussions with Chris some time ago, but we cannot continue with the project until we decide where we're going to run the water, because we don't want to start putting in infrastructure and then having to dig it up and do it again. So we think it's really important to have a good relationship with the county and make sure that you guys are involved in these conversations where you have the appropriate staff. You guys are the most knowledgeable on, where the water is and where it goes and how it should, run. The splash pad is going to function mostly in the off season of the school, which would mean that when the school is not operating, the splash pad would be on. The splash pad is on a timer, so the water is not continuously running, and it's a bit more economic that way. So it's a bit of an investment into the future, but it's an investment in the community, and we think it's extremely important, and it's something we're looking to go forward with the partnership of the county.
Yeah, so you said you had some conversations with Chris.
Yep.
What was his approach?
It's a bit of a scary thing. It's a big project in one sense, right? So I can understand that sometimes the approach is anything that can go wrong or that it's not possible. And we understand that. It's a big project. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we're not interested in not doing it. So it's going to get done either way. But I just think it's very important that you guys are included in the conversation so it's done right. Yeah. We don't want to put something in and then it have to be torn up for any reason or another, or it not work the best possible way that it could. Yeah. So Chris definitely said it was possible. I think he recommended it coming from the main, which of course would be the most expensive. But definitely doable.
That's where I was going to see what he recommended, the best option for you guys.
Yeah,
so he said the main one.
So the school, the water starts on the soccer field side. So the only thing would be you'd have to run it in behind. So you'd have to do a bit of digging, put some pipe in, and connect it, which is still possible. Again, we have the equipment, we have the resources, so not out of the question. but it would just be more beneficial for us to have that backup or that conversation before approaching the CSAP and having that conversation with them. We would like the most leverage possible before entering that chat.
So running it from the main would mean from down here
From
up
that,
the
yeah,
hill?
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. Which would just mean the most pipe.
right, yeah.
It would impact pavement though
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
dig either way.
However, it would be a great time to do it, considering we're looking at putting the
The sidewalks for the school going
sidewalk
up here.
and
yeah.
the paving project on that side anyway first.
You mentioned the CCBF
Yep.
money. So as I'm not sure if you've been following our budget discussions, but we do have a pretty significant infrastructure deficit that I know our public works staff is really trying to protect those funds as much as possible to public works, although we recognize there's value in other investments,
Right.
you know, and we've made that decision as a council to put monies elsewhere when,
Yeah.
you know, in incremental amounts, I guess I would suggest, in comparison to the fund. But is there, because I've heard you ask, you know, request that we ask staff to support your work, but you're also looking for a particular amount of money from council?
At this time, not a specific amount. I think it's been a little bit hard asking other levels of government for support without a significant amount of support from the municipality. Now, we understand that it might not be financial, but if we had more of a working relationship with council in order to complete what we're trying to complete, I think that would give us more leverage when asking for grants and when displaying what we're trying to do to other levels of government for their money.
And would a letter of support help you at all?
We have one.
Yes.
So
I'm
it has
just thinking
definitely helped,
something-
for sure. And
Yeah.
we got $7,500 as a grant as well.
Right, yeah.
Just where it's $1 million project, it's a bit small.
Right.
So we're just looking to increase our relationship and maybe work with Recreation a little bit more and work with Chris a little bit more just on the particulars of the project.
Okay.
And then if there is an option to apply for more grants, we're definitely going to put our name in the ballot.
Okay. So, I mean, myself, I would be hesitant to commit any staff time without talking with staff about that. And I know Karen, Chris is not here this evening, but perhaps we could leave that in your hands to maybe chat with him to see what is in the realm of possibility. This is a really, really busy time of year for public works staff.
The
of
figure's
course.
Ryan up for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So could we leave that with you, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess, again, just to reiterate, is just that we can't, we don't want to confirm a plot
Yeah.
without confirming the water. So
Right.
we have enough funds to go ahead this summer to do a portion of it, but we're hesitant.
And I think where you're going, Rochelle, and where I would go when it comes to recreation is that I don't think you're looking for recreation to drop everything,
No.
but pretty much to put a stamp on or have some kind of say or work with you to make this project go. I think that's where you're going with this, and I think that should be all recreation situations, you know what I mean? Our department should,
Well,
you know,
yeah, and
I'm not saying drop everything, Madam Morton, but
Yeah.
our recreation department should be involved in projects like this, hands down, no questions asked, in my opinion, right?
Well, I'm wondering if that could happen through our recreation committee. It might be a great spot to kind of,
Yeah, get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
you know,
And I'm on the committee, and I would
Yeah.
agree with Councillor Sampson. It's, you know, a project of this magnitude, to sit back and just kind of let it flow on its own isn't what we want, really. Again, the input and the $250,000, raising the funds, like you said, over the last couple of years, for us to, I guess, sit back and wait
Right.
isn't
Yeah,
moving forward. So, yeah, I think we gotta do several things. One is we gotta reach out to Recreation Committee and, kind of get the ball rolling, and, yeah, maybe have our CAO reach out to staff and see, where we can use some hours. And again, it's not to dedicate every hour of the staff, but, we do have, I guess the first priority is to sit back and sit down and figure out with yourself, where the pipe is going to be ran, so you can, if not work on the splash pad, work on the rest of the infrastructure.
Exactly, that's
And
all we
that's
need
the-
to determine,
Right.
is where the pipe's gonna come from, just so we don't put anything on top of that.
I'd kind of rather leave it with the
Yeah.
CAO or the interim CAO for now to confer with Chris and to talk with you about your timeline and what you need and when.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just a little hesitant to overcommit when we don't.
And communicate back to everybody.
Right.
Through email sooner than later, okay, so everybody's.
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I ask for like a 30-day return?
Sure.
Okay, no back in 30
We won't
days?
leave you hanging for
Okay.
30 days.
And we understand where this project was so large 2 years ago, and we came forth with this, and it was a bit of a pipe dream.
Yeah.
We can understand that the council didn't just jump right into it and be a part of it, because I'm sure a lot of people come to you guys with presentations and ideas, and you can't support them all, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But where we've shown a level of dedication, and where this project has turned into $1 million infrastructure project right in the town, right in the county of Richmond for all of its residents, at this point, we do ask a little more. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
great project.
We know you're busy, Rochelle, and you got a lot on your plate, so instead of you coming here to update us, our recreation committee could be updating us on working with Rochelle, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I think, yeah, like Rochelle said, I think we gotta,
yeah. And just
We gotta
keeping
get
in
more on
mind,
board.
we currally have a gap in our staffing
Yeah.
with,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Oh, I'm
Right.
sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
with the,
Yeah.
you know, hiring a new
Yeah.
recreation manager,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, which will be great, too.
Yeah.
That'll be-
Yeah, and I mean, and we also, just approved another position in Public Works, and so, you know what
Exactly.
I mean, that will relieve some of the pressure, but when all of those things
Yeah.
come to
Yeah.
fruition, it's
Yeah.
unknown.
yeah, so I think for now, we could give you the commitment to follow back up with you in a
Yeah.
timely manner, and have Karen kind of confer with staff, and she can update the rest of us, and, yeah.
Last year's budget was when you had got the $7,500 towards the project, so
Yep,
she still would be eligible to apply again this year for,
yep.
right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't, we had gotten the approval that we could hold off another year before spending it,
Yes.
just where we weren't ready. But yeah, absolutely. And what we understood from a lot of other municipalities is that's how it functions. The
Yeah.
county puts out grants and you apply for grants, and if you get it, you get it, and that's how it works. We don't expect, the entire recreation department to do the project. That's why we've all committed and we're ready to put in the time, so. My only other question, I guess, regarding the CCBF fund, is that something that you can apply for, or is that part of the money that's used in the grants, or?
So we have, that's a great question, and it's $1 million question, literally, in this case. But, so where we're at with CCBF is that we have traditionally used it for items that are part of our capital plan. And we've already approved that for this year,
Yep.
last month. However, we have also, I think, referred it to policy and bylaw, if I'm not mistaken.
It's there.
It's there, yeah. And so what we'll be doing is trying to develop some policy around it. So maybe we will be looking at percentages in parks and rec versus, water and sewer infrastructure versus whatever. I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
Yep.
But right now, there's not really a set way for community groups to apply for it, right?
I'm just glad to see it in the discussions, like I had seen it on
Yeah.
the agenda prior, so I'm just glad it's being talked about.
Yeah,
out
I
there,
think
and
we-
you guys are working towards something. so
Exactly, we are working
That's
towards
awesome.
something, and so we'll kind of keep projects like yours in mind, I guess, as we go there, right? I think will be important, so, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And there you have it. That wraps up this week's edition of Roundtable. Thank you for tuning in, and a big thank you to my Telile colleagues Cody Pardy, Becky Bourinot, and Nick Boudreau for filming and formatting the footage from Richmond's latest Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, June the 13th. If you have any comments about what you've seen over the past half hour, or just some suggestions for future editions of Telile's Roundtable series, I'd love to hear them. You can contact me directly, or you can pass them along to the Telile studios in Arichat. And don't forget to follow Telile on social media. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for more exciting panel discussions here on Roundtable, including the return of Telile's Pride Panel.